Money Talk, which is brought to you by our friends at NuMark Credit Union. Today, we're going to be talking about the Illinois Credit Union League with Tom Kane, the CEO, president of the Illinois Credit Union. I'll introduce you to him and to another special guest we have in a moment. We'd first like to remind you that summer is upon us. Are you dreaming about your next adventure? If you're ready to hit the road with a new motorcycle, NuMark can help you get to your fantastic future faster with great rates and exceptional service. If you're currently still paying on a motorcycle, NuMark refinances as well. Want to apply or learn more? Visit NuMark online at NuMarkCU.org. That's NuMarkCU.org, NuMark Credit Union, where you are family. We also want to remind you that sometime in the next several minutes, we're going to give you an answer to a trivia question. What do you know what to look for? What question are we going to be asking? We don't know yet, but something either our guest Tom or our guest Lloyd will tell you will be brought back up in the form of a trivia question. And if you know the answer to that question, you're going to win a $25 Visa gift card compliments of NuMark Credit Union. So pay attention, people. Not only will you learn some very valuable information, but you'll have a chance to win $25. And who wouldn't like that? Absolutely so. Lloyd Fredendall is the president and CEO of NuMark Credit Union. He joins us live on our Truck Furniture studio line. Good morning, Lloyd.
Hey, good morning, Scott. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for coming on the program. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. And we also are joined by Tom Kane, the president and CEO of the Illinois Credit Union League. Hi, Tom.
Hey, good morning, Scott. Good morning, Lloyd. And the listeners.
Good morning, Tom.
Yeah, all right. Everybody present and accounted for, I guess, right? Absolutely. All right, well, so Lloyd, let's talk with you. Have we had you on the program before?
We did. Tom and I appeared last year around this time.
Okay, all right, good. I was wondering because, we don't get a chance to talk to the big dog very often, so it's good to have you on board. So in all seriousness,
the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, tell everybody a little bit about because, again, you're the president and CEO of NuMark, so tell everybody a little bit about you, how long you've been with NuMark, and what's your career looked like up to this point. I mean, this is it's a big job to have as the president of a credit union like this.
Well, I started out on the bad side as a regulator many, many years ago. And then NuMark, the new NuMark, as we refer to it occasionally, is the combination of the merger of North Star Credit Union and NuMark Credit Union, really to help us bring efficiencies to our members. So I've been with the combined organization, I'm embarrassed to say, for a little over 31 years. Of course, I started when I was 5. And the merger has really done very well. Our growth has been fantastic. We're reaching a lot of new members in a lot of new markets, so it's been really, really positive for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, a lot of times, things don't go as well when you bring a couple of groups together, but this has seemingly, at least from the outside, been seamless and made you guys stronger as a whole. That's what you were looking to do.
It really did, and the great thing that we've learned here is that we were all focused on the same mission, and it was to serve the members. And when everybody's pulling the horse in the same direction, it makes the merger process very easily. I couldn't be more proud of how our teams have come together, both board and staff and management team. It's really been quite awesome.
Good. All right. Well, Lloyd, let's talk a little bit about credit unions. They're different, obviously, from other financial institutions because they're part of the same type of movement. Can you tell us about our guest today, who's the head of the Illinois Credit Union, and how NuMark works with the Illinois Credit Union League?
I sure can. Thank you. Tom is the president and CEO of the Illinois Credit Union League, as you've said, and its subsidiary. And the league would be our trade association, and their subsidiary or service corporation is known as Advocacy. And they're basically a company that's really 100% dedicated to assisting credit unions in pretty much all areas of our operation, literally from training to legal and technical advice to legislative representation is a big one. That's more of a league function down in Springfield, but also philanthropic where, they help us with, Tom's going to talk about a few things a little bit later, but really anywhere credit unions are in need of assistance. And I guess you could summarize it as sort of a cooperatively owned consulting group for credit unions. And a real credit to Tom and his team is that I'm pretty sure the league is considered really nationally be one of the most proactive and effective leagues in the country.
Awesome.
They do a great job. Do a really good job.
Well, let's bring Tom on. Tom, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about how your Illinois Credit Union League ultimately helps people that are in the communities that are served, of course, like by NuMark.
Sure. Thank you for having me on today, Scott.
Sure.
So the league really helps people in the listening area by providing that support and services to the credit unions like NuMark that do what they do best by serving their members as the best financial choice that consumers have. So as Lloyd mentioned, we do that. We provide advocacy, compliance, and education to our 200. We have 217 credit unions that are headquartered here in Illinois, and a little under 4 million members in the state.
Wow.
So it's a pretty good size. So a little more than a quarter of the people in the state actually belong to a credit union, which is pretty cool.
You're kidding me. So 25% of people in the state belong to a credit union?
Yes.
Wow.
Yep. It's one of our challenges is always a lot of people don't even know what a credit union is.
Right.
But there's 25% belong to one. So, and I was just up in Michigan yesterday, and they were up to 55% of the people belong to credit unions in Michigan.
Wow.
So we're kind of a little known secret out there, but people really like to use. There's more than 120 million Americans belong to credit unions. So and they're finding. I mean, part of the way that credit unions do what they do so well is they are a member-owned cooperative. And so their whole focus is on providing, inexpensive and reasonable products and services to their members, and that's their whole mission. So it's not about driving a shareholder price or anything like that. So they are not for profit. So the whole idea is to be able to serve their member owners. And what we do then is help the unions get that message out. So it sounds like we need to do a little bit more of that. But also we do work in Springfield, political work down there, which is our advocacy work, making sure that we get good bills and laws and regulations that help out credit unions. And then once laws are passed, we work with credit unions because a lot of the laws can be very complex. So we help credit unions try to figure out, okay, how do we stay compliant with everything? And then we do a lot of other things that other associations do. We do education events, which, changed significantly over the last couple of years because of the pandemic. And all of a sudden we're doing a lot of things through Zoom. And then Lloyd mentioned that we actually provide card services, so debit cards, credit cards, to more than 2,000 credit unions across the country, mostly small credit unions, and including one of your lucky listeners is going to get the $25 Visa gift card, and we're the company that actually provides that card.
Hey, there you go. There you go. It's a good contact to have, right, Lloyd?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely so. All right, Tom, so you kind of hit on a couple of things and main initiatives at Illinois. So you basically, you are there to speak on behalf of the credit unions when it comes to lobbying down in Springfield. You're there to give them some guidance on maybe what works in other states with credit unions that they may use here and vice versa as well from some of your other members.
Absolutely. We're a very collaborative industry, and so it's always interesting when I talk to my friends in other businesses and we talk about, and Lloyd is very familiar with this, how you get together and you'll talk about what's working with your credit union, and we talk about what's working in one state or the other, and people just look at me like, well, you talk to people that are potentially competitors, and that's not really the way that we necessarily look at it. It's a very collaborative kind of industry. So, on the political side, and I always tell legislators that when I meet with them, we're a really good group to like because we're on the side of the consumers. We're trying to do what's best for, the members of the credit unions. And so it's an easy group for us to like. And usually, any sort of legislator will always wonder, okay, if you're pushing this, who's going to be against this? And we generally don't have people against anything that we push. In fact, we got our most recent bill that we got passed in the spring was passed unanimously, both in the House and the Senate, and the governor signed it.
Got it.
So right now, a big part of our initiative going on is in case you haven't noticed, it's an election year. If you missed the deluge of all the ads for the primary, and there's going to be this brief little time now where there's not these things happening, and then in about another month, every ad on TV, the radio, yard signs, postcards will all be coming out. So that's one big initiative right now is talking to legislators, and we're very bipartisan. We don't support. It doesn't matter what party somebody is. It's all about, are they a past supporter, or are they going to be a future supporter of credit unions? And that's kind of what we provide them with funds.
Right.
We do fundraising, and then we help support them in that way if they're going to be a credit union supporter. So
Yeah, Tom, our comptroller loves election time, but our listeners hate it because of the commercials over and over and over. But hey, that's okay. And politicians also, the legislated themselves the lowest possible rate radio stations could offer. You know that too, right?
Right, exactly. Well, that's one of the reasons that we actually have an awareness campaign, but we stay away from radio and TV completely in the fall of the election year. So
good idea.
Just two are incredible.
Yep. Lloyd, so you've been listening to Tom, and you know all of this, but just kind of bringing it back here locally. So these initiatives that Tom talks about, what he does for you, then eventually filters down and helps your members.
Exactly. And, a lot of probably the single biggest value I think that the league and to a lesser degree maybe Service Corp bring is the advocacy down in Springfield. I mean, what we're able to do is we're able to coordinate the views of 4 million Illinois citizens. And Tom, you're right, we need to get that up closer to the 50% number by the record. In order, 25 was kind of surprisingly low, but those 4 million people, they can go down and represent what they're thinking through what the credit unions are thinking. And I can never think of a legislative initiative that we've supported as a group that was not in the better interest of the citizens of the state of Illinois. So usually they're pretty successful down there.
Yeah. Tom, can you kind of talk a little bit about actually, Tom, I want to ask you this question here. What have you seen during the challenging years that we've had? People have been affected financially. Some people have made more money. A lot of people have made less. Small businesses have been dinged, obviously. What have you seen credit unions do to help people, generally speaking, across the country?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, there's just a great deal of uncertainty in the world right now. And I think one of the things is, and right from the start, I think what credit unions have provided is reassurance to their members. As you may remember from a couple of years ago when the pandemic first started, the governor designated essential businesses, and credit unions were one of the top essential business, any financial institution. So they didn't get the luxury of closing. I mean, I think some of them did maybe for a week or two, but they had to adjust significantly. And so all of a sudden, credit unions that were used to having people walk into their lobbies every day and to conduct business like that were doing everything either through their drive-throughs. I've heard of people doing house closings, parking lots. We had somebody who did not even have a drive-through, so they cut a hole in their wall and put a glass window.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding me!
Window in there. Oh. Yeah, because they didn't even have a drive-through. So they had to make all sorts of adjustments, and I think a big part of it is pushing more towards electronic delivery of things. So mobile apps, online pay, bill pay, and I think those things have sort of stuck. That kind of behavior. I think Lloyd will tell you that they're continuing to see less lobby traffic and people moving towards electronic things, or just even more through drive-through. What they're doing, but I think the cool thing about credit unions is they responded very quickly. They cut fees for ATM fees. They deferred payments. Most credit unions allowed people to skip payments or defer payments for a couple of months or things like that all through the pandemic. So I think what we saw is a lot of money come into credit unions, and we saw a big jump in membership as well. When people realized that credit unions weren't cutting their credit lines and their credit cards or doing anything else like that. And the other thing is that the credit unions have been expanding while, in general, bigger banks have been pulling out of branches. They're just viewing they aren't very profitable, and they're driving more people towards mobile. Credit unions, including NuMark, are getting more branches and trying to, be that local community financial institution for consumers.
Lloyd, a lot of things Tom talked about there, what he's seen other credit unions do. You're very familiar with most all of those. I don't think cutting the hole in the side of a building is one of them, but those all sound pretty familiar, right, Lloyd?
Yeah, we're very fortunate. All of our branches, save one, have drive-throughs, so we never stopped serving the members during the pandemic or the shutdowns. In fact, we never stopped lending. We deferred literally hundreds of payments for people that were struggling or having a hard time, or in many cases just scared, right? When it first happened, nobody really knew what was happening. And then, as a result of all that, and one thing I really promised myself I'd get in here, and I think others may have been on the show and talked about it, but the member response to all of that was so outstanding that last year, based on 2020, actually paid it this year, but based on 2021 patronage levels, we were able to pay out a bonus dividend to our members of over $1 million, a little over $1 million, and that was pretty cool. We did a lot of PPP loans. Helped a lot of people refinance or buy their dream home, like over $150 million in mortgage loans last year. That's obviously down a little bit this year with the interest rate environment. But we never hid from our members. The point was they were struggling, they were hurt, they were scared. We needed to step up and provide those services to them, and I think it's come back to us in spades.
Yeah. Tom, any new legislation that's worth talking about here? And if so, is there anything we can do to help our credit union?
Well, in Springfield, they actually shortened the legislative session. It's just a part-time legislature, so that they normally go from January through May, and they shortened it because of the primary election. So we actually, the whole work that we do down in Springfield has sort of ended for the year. And I mentioned before, we're very successful in getting bills passed and some bills killed that we want to see. But we are working at the federal level right now, and as you can imagine, there's a lot of partisanship going on in Washington that's making it very difficult to pass anything. But one of the things that we passed here locally that we're trying to also get passed federally is for credit unions to be able to move outside of their field of membership to serve underserved areas. So as you may know, credit unions are limited to, either a geography, business, or occupational, definition kind of restrictions. So this bill that was passed that became law in the state allows credit unions to serve groups of people or a targeted area that, is underserved. And they're becoming more and more kind of banking deserts throughout the state in urban areas and in rural areas as well.
Sure.
So that's one thing we passed that we're trying to get passed at the federal level. But as far as the public getting involved, our credit union industry is very known for its grassroots lobbying efforts. We let credit unions know, like NuMark, when we need their help in something, and then on occasion, reach out to their members as well, depending on what the issue ends up being.
All right.
But, we have a very strong grassroots effort.
Okay. Hey, before we spring in, we have about 2.5 minutes left is all. So, Lloyd, I'll start with you. You get a story about how credit unions have helped you personally?
How they've helped me personally?
Yes. Yeah.
It's hard for me because when you're in my slot, there's not a whole lot that we can do differently for me. But we have hundreds of stories where we've helped others that have been in a jam or trouble, or maybe particularly after the recession and during the pandemic. But we really just here first priority is our members and their well-being. So if somebody has a problem and it makes sense, we'll pretty much do whatever we can do to help them through that problem.
Okay. Tom, what about you?
Well, I've got a good one. I had a home equity loan for a number of years. I have 4 children, all of whom went through college, debt-free, only because of a home equity loan that I got from my credit union that I just paid off. I'm older, so I had that open for a very, very long time. But there's no way I could have gotten my 4 kids through college with that credit.
That's awesome.
And,
good stuff.
The home equity loan. So that was fantastic. And the kids are so appreciative because almost all of them have friends who have, student debt, and They're able to
Yep.
move on with their life without having to worry about that.
Tom Kane, President and CEO of Illinois Credit Union, thank you very much for your time this morning. We appreciate it. And the President and CEO of NuMark Credit Union is Lloyd. Fredendall. Lloyd, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. We're going to give away $25 now, so let you two guys go about your day.
Scott, thank you very much. Have a great
All
afternoon.
right, take care, Lloyd. Thanks, Tom.
Bye-bye.
Scott?
All right,
Lloyd.
here's the trivia question. 815-254-7300. What percent of Illinoisans are members of credit unions? You heard the number probably 4 or 5 times. 815-254-7300. First correct caller on the Turk Furniture Studio line will win. What percentage of Illinois residents are members of credit unions? 815-254-7300 is the phone number. Hi, good morning. You're on WJOL. What's your first name?
Mary.
Hi, Mary. What's the answer?
25.
25 is exactly right. Nicely done, young lady. You hang on. I got to get some information from you off the air, and we're going to get you a $25 gift card courtesy of our friends at NuMark Credit Union. How about that?
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So there you